the most recent iteration of Rough Draft Theater. My name is Fernando Gonzalez, and I will be your host as we begin the journey into mystery known as the Star Wars. With me is the panel as follows.
Nicholas Starr.
Blacksmith.
Bridget S. Dunn.
Tate Alexander.
Oh yeah, it's going to be a hot one tonight. Everybody is going to be having an absolutely fantastic time. And as a matter of fact, in honor of this very first iteration of Rough Draft Theater, in this current form, I have I decided to come up with some pretty sick bars just to let you know exactly what you're going to be dealing with. Hey, can I get a beat?
No.
And on with our show.
We're getting there. Fade in. Space. A sea of stars is broken by the vast blue surface of the planet Utapau. 5 small moons slowly drift into view from the far side of the planet. The main titles are followed by a roll-up. You guys know what to do. You're followed by a roll-up.
Oh, you want the song?
Okay, all right.
Oh, no, we don't have to do the song. It's fine.
Next time, we'll rehearse that one next time.
There, I ended it. Until the recent Great Rebellion, the Jedi Bendu were the most feared warriors in the universe. For 100,000 years, generations of Jedi perfected their art as the personal bodyguards of the Emperor. They were the chief architects of the invincible Imperial Space Force, which expanded the Empire across the galaxy from the celestial equator to the farthest reaches of the Great Rift. Now, these legendary warriors are all but extinct. One by one, they have been hunted down and destroyed as enemies of the new Empire by a ferocious and sinister rival warrior sect, the Knights of Sith. A small silver spacecraft emerges from behind one of the Utapau moons. The deadly little fighter craft speeds past several of the moons until it finally goes into orbit around the 4th moon. Wasteland, 4th moon, Utapau. A harsh gale blows across the bleak gray surface of the 4th moon. The leaden sky presses down on a lone figure, Anakin Starkiller, a tall, heavy-set boy of 18, plump and supple. He slowly makes his way across the canyon floor. The heavy winds whip at him and make the going extremely difficult. His face is covered by a breath mask and goggles. He stops for a second to adjust the shoulder strap on his chrome multiple laser rifle. Not just one laser. Something in the sky catches his eye, and he instinctively grabs a pair of electro binoculars from his belt. He stands transfixed for a few moments, studying the heavens, then turns and rushes back in the direction from which he came. Fuck. Supply hut. 4th moon, Utapau. A spacecraft, half buried in the dust, rests next to the remains of an abandoned supply shack. Anakin makes his way across the colorless landscape and rushes into the crumbling building. The interior of the hut is shabby, but manages to abate the howling winds. Seated in front of the thermo heater are Anakin's father, Kane, and his younger brother, Deke. Kane is a large, burly man wearing the distinctive robes of a Jedi. Deke is 10 years old, with dusty blonde hair and a large scratch on his cheek. Anakin slams the door and removes his gear. His ruggedly handsome face is caked with many layers of dust.
Dad, they found us.
Deke looks up from a small cube he had been studying. His father whacks him across the shoulder with a braided wire connector.
Continue with the problem. Your concentration is worse than your brother's. How many?
Only one this time. Banta 4.
Good. We may not have to repair this old bucket after all. Prepare yourself.
Me too.
You have the answer?
I think it's the Corbett dictum. What is without.
Kane smiles. This is the correct answer. Anakin is strapping on a utility belt with chrome laser pistols and laser sword. Kane rises and starts for his equipment.
Pop?
Deke, do you feel you're ready?
Yes, sir. I've outmarked Anakin in 12 disciplines. I'm as good...
All right, son, get your gear.
Deke jumps up with the enthusiasm available only to a 10-year-old and grabs his gear. His father frowns and shakes his head. Wasteland Bluff, 4th Moon, Utapau. Kane Starkiller and his two sons carefully make their way up a rock bluff, overlooking the parked Silver Sith spacecraft. Kane inspects the craft with his electro binoculars.
No tracks. Bylock hasn't been opened. Interior systems are still on.
Are we going to wait for him to come out?
He's not in there. He's baiting us. I'm surprised they only sent one this time. We must be wearing them down, or they must think this night is something special. Stay on guard and keep hidden. I'm going to work my way across the bridge and call his bluff. Better we meet in open combat than wait for him to ambush us. Keep your guard.
Kane leaves his two sons and moves off along the obscured ridge. Anakin and Deke watch him intently. Anakin throws down his multiple laser rifle in disgust.
You should have let me go with him. He's getting too old to make an open challenge.
He's not too old to realize you just get in the way.
Anakin ignores his little brother's remark and sneaks a little over the ridge at the Sith spacecraft. Kane moves out of the rocks, some distance away, and starts toward the starship. Deke moves to the ridge next to his brother, his chrome laser rifle sparkling in the reflected light of Utapau.
He's making his move.
Watch your guard and cover that weapon. It shines like a beacon.
Deke reluctantly moves away and watches the other direction. Kane has almost reached the Sith spacecraft, and still there is no sign of its occupant.
What's happening?
Nothing. I don't like it.
Kane carefully moves to the main hatch of the starship. He kicks a valve and the hatch drops open with a loud clank and rushing gas. Anakin becomes more tense as his father moves carefully inside the starcraft. Okay. Spacecraft, starcraft, fucking pick a word. Everything is still. Even the continual winds seem to have died down. Moments pass with no sign of activity inside the enemy starship. Anakin watches the craft with his electro binoculars. The waiting becomes unbearable.
Something's happened. He's been in there too long.
Let me look. Stand my guard.
Deke takes the electro binoculars from his brother and studies the silent starcraft. Anakin impatiently scans the opposite horizon.
I think the power just went off. We better wait here until someone comes out.
What if he needs help?
The power went back on again.
God, we have to read all that.
With the aid of the electro binoculars, Deke watches the running lights of the starship flash on and off. Suddenly, something huge moves in front of his field of view. Before either of the two young boys can react, a large, sinister Sith warrior in black robes and a face mask looms over them. He carries a long laser sword, which cuts young Deke down before he and his brother are able to raise their weapons. The startled Anakin backs away in horror, then settles down and ignites his laser sword, which creates an eerie red glow. He stumbles over rocks as he attempts to avoid the charging Sith Knight. The evil warrior swings his mighty laser sword, but Anakin manages to deflect the intended death blow. Finally, Anakin is able to assume a defensive stance, and the two warriors stand, sizing up each other. The Black Knight is at least 7 feet tall and dwarfs the young Jedi. They stand for a few moments, almost frozen. Then in a flurry of blows, laser swords clash with the sound of electric snapping and popping. Anakin is barely able to hold his own against the experienced knight. Many blows are exchanged before the Sith warrior is able to back Anakin up against a deep crevasse. Anakin stumbles and almost falls over the cliff to his death. The Black Knight suddenly senses something behind him and whirls around to face Anakin's father, Kane Starkiller, a Jedi Bendu master. The Sith warrior raises his laser sword, but is cut in two before he can bring it down again. Kane moves to the fallen Black Knight and studies him carefully. Anakin, still a little wobbly from the whole experience, attempts to stand. Kane sees his dead son Deke and goes to him. He lifts him into his arms and begins to weep. Anakin stands bewildered, watching his father cradle his dead brother. Interior, Sith Starship, Wasteland Canyon, Utapau. Kane Starkiller slides into one of the 4 seats of the small Sith starship. Through the front viewing canopy, he watches Anakin drag his younger brother's body to a small crevasse. Anakin places a small locket around his brother's neck, makes a complicated sign with his hand, and dumps the body into the shallow depression. The giant engines of the starcraft begin to whine, kicking up large clouds of dust. Anakin climbs into the seat beside his father and removes his breath mask and goggles. There are tears in his eyes. Father and son look out across the wasteland towards Deke's grave. The thunderous clap of an explosion is followed by a small mushroom cloud rising out of the depression. Anakin throws a container down in a fit of rage.
How many more of them are there? I want to finish it once and for all. I'm sick of running. When will it stop?
Anakin's father waits silently until his son's tirade is finished. Anakin sits silently for a few moments.
I'm sorry.
Son, pilot a course for Aquilay.
Anakin lights up like a bantha at feeding time.
Aquilay, you mean we're going home?
We both need a rest.
Kane pulls back on the throttle, and the powerful spaceship lifts off the surface of the fourth moon of Utapau. Cloud C, Alderaan. A title card appears over a sea of billowing clouds on the gaseous planet of Alderaan. Title card, Alderaan, capital of the new galactic empire. The towering white oxide clouds pass, revealing the imperial city of Alderaan. The magnificent domed and gleaming city is perched mushroom-like on a tall spire, which disappears deep into the misty surface of the planet. The peacefulness of this nebulous idyll is broken by the increasing wail of ion engines. 4 sleek star destroyers from the Imperial Third Fleet burst from one of the huge cumulus range. The craft are flying in a tight formation as they bank steeply and head toward the Imperial City of the Galaxy, capital of the galaxy. Interior of Star Destroyer, Alderaan. Star Destroyers are 2-man spacecraft crammed with sophisticated electronic weaponry. The pilot and gunnery officers sit side by side, surrounded by lighted readouts and switches. They wear the gleaming black uniforms of the Empire.
Talk one to chicks. Shape it up. Let's make it good.
Does that glare bother you?
Use your face shield, chick one.
The pilot is cold and professional as he maneuvers his craft closer to the others. The positions of the ships are displayed on a readout, along with a graphic representation of the city. I think it's just a graphic. Okay, that's weird. It's a graphic represent. It's just disgusting.
Actually, a graph.
Also, I'd like to point something out. Does it also not look in the script when they said multiple laser rifle, like it says multi-pleaser rifle?
Oh, multi-pleaser rifle.
Anyway,
Hot.
I'm sorry.
The Star Wars.
The pilot gives the gunner a quick look before he flips his sun shield over his eyes.
Here we go. Count. 3, 2, 1, now.
Review stand, Plaza of the Daters, Alderaan. On a huge austere platform stands the dark Kazdashit, Lord of Alderaan, Consul of the Supreme Tribunal, and ruler of the Galactic Empire. He is a thin, gray-looking man with an evil mustache which hangs limply over his insipid lip. Standing at rigid attention on his right are several generals dressed in the black and gray uniforms of the realm. 5 members of the Supreme Tribunal sit off on the side. On the Emperor's left stands Crispin Hodak, newly appointed governor of the Aquilian systems, a young, treacherous man with stone-cut, angular features and piercing gray eyes. They all gaze skyward as the 4 gleaming star destroyers scream low overhead in an impressive barrel roll formation. As the sound of the spacecraft resonates throughout the glass canyon of the plaza, the group of dignitaries return their attention to the parade of Imperial shock troops and giant air tanks, which ride magically 2 or 3 feet above the ground. The plaza of the Daters is filled with 100 rows of troops as the last brigade marches into positions. The sound of 1,000 men snapping to attention is followed by a strange silence. A light wind blows the great red banner of the Empire, creating a subtle flapping sound. The Emperor's amplified voice startles many of the troops as it cuts through the quiet.
Upon this battle depends the survival of the Galactic Empire. Upon this battle depends the life and long continuity of our civilization. Not since the Great Jedi Rebellion has our destiny been placed in such a balance. This is to be the most magnificent campaign of all. You have never been called without doing something to be remembered, something notable and striking. The conquering of the Aquilian system, the last of the independent systems, and the last refuge of the outlawed, vile sect of the Jedi, will have such important and lasting consequences that I can't but consider it as an epoch in history.
To the rear of the plaza watches the spectacle over the shoulder of a curious bureaucrat stands Clive Whitson, a tall, blond young man about 20 years old. He seems interested in what the Emperor has to say, but keeps looking around nervously as if someone were after him. His arm rests across his head, as he carefully but coolly adjusts a glowing blue ring on his index finger. The Emperor nears the end of his speech. Crispin Hodak has moved up to stand next to the sinister monarch. The troops shout an imperial salute in response to a particularly partisan statement.
I have personally asked the Aquileians to accept this treaty of alliance. During the long period of negotiation, they have only decided to be undecided. We will barter no longer. Governor Hodak has been appointed the First Lord of the Aquileian system and surrounding territories. This is the last frontier and the final stone in the Great Wall of the Galactic Empire.
The troops cheer! Woo! And the Emperor escorts Hodak inside. Whitson moves quickly away from the plaza, passing through several check stations where he is forced to show his identification. Nightclub, Alderaan. Whitson walks into the glass and chrome splendor of one of the famous nightclubs of Alderaan. He moves to the long mirrored bar and sits next to a rough-looking man, Bail Antilles, dressed in the distinctive gold and furs of the Galactic Empire.
Your glass is empty.
Whitson speaks into a small intercom on the bar front.
A Dantic and...
He looks in Antilles' glass.
No thanks, Whitson. I've had enough.
Just a Dantic, then. Bale, it's not like you to refuse a drink. You're going to give galactic traders a bad name.
A drink appears magically from a small elevator in the bar. That's magic, right? Whitson takes it and then places a pen-like transmitter he has taken from his pocket next to the intercom. It creates a low electronic buzz. Bar Observation Center, Alderaan. A controller sitting in front of the row of monitors taps his headphones, then flips a switch back and forth a couple of times. He is obviously annoyed. Number 18 is out again. Give me a maintenance check. The controller yawns and puts his feet up on the control panel. Nightclub, Alderaan. Whitson leans in close to Antilles. He is suddenly very serious.
Whitson, we've got problems. They just grounded all spacecraft, including trade frigates. Even the ships under the Imperial Registry can't move. Something big is up.
I'm afraid they're not waiting for the Alliance Treaty. They're already moving against the system. I've got to get back. I've got to get word back.
The Chrome companies are protesting the embargo, but it's going to take some time.
Isn't anything moving?
Military ships, but...
They are interrupted by an Imperial officer and several stormtroopers. The officer shouts over the PA system. As the troops rush to block the exits, Whitson and the galactic trader are tense, but remain cool.
Attention! All captains and first officers of Guild Trade frigates will accompany me to the Ministry of Transport immediately.
Antilles gives Whitson a hopeless look as the troops check their papers and then take Antilles away. A small fight breaks out in the back of the nightclub as one of the trader captains expresses his dislike of the Empire. Whitson slams his glass to the bar in a gesture of hate and frustration. Governor Hodak's quarters, Alderaan. The large white-on-white executive quarters resound with the high-pitched laugh of the evil Governor Hodak. He slaps Darth Vader! He slaps Darth Vader! A tall, grim-looking general on the back. And the general's mouth makes the slightest gesture of a smile?
Success! I told you. We are no longer under the control of the great families. We've gained a true advantage.
Phantos Call, a member of the Supreme Tribunal and a man of the grossest dimensions, appears to be a little worried.
Rather dangerous advantage. You still have a system to conquer.
But this system will bring us more scientific wealth than that of any other house in the tribunal. we will easily gain control of the directorship.
Don't underestimate the armies of Aquile. They're led by a Jedi.
I've told you about Commissioner Laws, General. He worries a lot.
It's a myth that any Jedi still exist.
General Skywalker is no myth. When I first arrived at court, he was the first bodyguard to the Emperor. He led the Jedi Rebellion.
Sieg Darklighter led the rebellion.
So the Emperor would have you think, but I was there.
Then why wasn't he hunted down like the others?
Because he's too dangerous, too clever. Besides, his presence on Aquile is still only a rumor.
Then why do you believe it?
Because I knew him. He's there. All right. I can sense it. Mark my words, Aquile will not be easily conquered.
Courtyard, Palace of Light, Aquili. A low, sleek land speeder in auto-like transport, which travels a few feet above the ground on a magnetic field, glides into the courtyard of the Palace of Aquili. The planet is desert wilderness, but the palace is a sparkling oasis with low concrete walls and great turrets spilling over with foliage from rooftop gardens. The speeder stops before an enormous shaded corridor. Fountains line the beautiful and highly polished tiled walkway. Two young boys, Biggs and Wyndham, are helped out of the land speeder by Amber, a one-armed bodyguard dressed in the flowing white robes of the Aquilian military. The two boys run through the long corridors, yelling and screaming, their little footsteps echoing throughout the palace. I was hoping we had a Foley guy for that, sorry. The palace library is a dim, cool room projecting an aura of time-worn comfort and security. In the distance, the children can be heard screaming through the corridors. King Kaios, a silver-haired but amazingly youthful under a tanned and leathery face, motions for one of his aides to shut the partially closed door. He is in the middle of an emergency meeting of the Aquilian High Senate. The 12 men sit in overstuffed chairs, placed in a large circle. A large, sallow-eyed galactic trader named Zavos. Hey, Zavos! Hey! Fiddles nervously with a small scrap of leather as he speaks.
My lord, the Chrome companies are with you in spirit, but you must understand they can't openly support you. Imperial trade restrictions are very unfavorable, and we, of course, favor your independence.
If there were to be war, would your frigates still supply us?
Your bluntness is to be commended. It could be arranged.
Count Sandage, a corrupt noble of the Senate, jumps to his feet in a rage.
This is nonsense. We have no choice but to approve the treaty. If there is war, the Empire will destroy our entire system with a snap of the finger. General Skywalker is a dreamer if he thinks he can mount any meaningful resistance. And you're dreamers if you believe him. So much trust in one aged man. You must see.
At that moment, all heads turn as someone enters the room. It is General Luke Skywalker, commander of the Aquilian Star Force. He is a large man, apparently in his early 60s, but actually much older. Everyone senses the aura of power that radiates from his great warrior. Here is a leader, a Jedi general. He looks weary, but is still a magnificent-looking warrior. His face, cracked and weathered in by exotic climates, is set off by a close, silvered beard and dark, penetrating eyes. Sandage is somewhat embarrassed and quietly sits down.
Is there anyone here so naive he believes the Empire would even bother negotiating if they were contemplating destruction of this system? Your Excellencies, this is more than a simple raid on your resources. You must reach a decision.
Mir Nash, a thin, bird-like senator, turns to the general. General Skywalker, war is a serious business, a deadly business.
Procrastination is a deadly business, Senator. War is my business. Have you approved my defense measures?
The Grand Moff Tarkin wears the long black robes of the Aquilian religion. He speaks with a high, cracking voice. Shit, I'm Tarkin too. In actual war with the Empire is still only a remote possibility. As a military treaties, your proposal has certain merits, but in the harsh light of reality, an attack against the Empire appears to be a somewhat extreme defense. Oh, Nash again. You must understand, General. We are interested in avoiding a war, not starting one.
There are times when offense makes the best defense. If that alliance treaty isn't signed, we will need all of the advantage we can get.
Count Sandage, I want you to head the delegation to Alderaan. You will leave tomorrow with our answer regarding the treaty. My decision will be forthcoming.
The senators whisper among themselves.
All right, then. May the force of others be with you all.
What?
And also with you.
That's stupid.
The senators leave in a flurry of hushed conversation. The general is lost in thought and remains in his chair. Biggs and Wyndham, or Windy, the king's two young sons, stormed through the existing senators and rushed on to Kaio's lap. The king is obviously very proud of his two young princes. He throws Biggs into the air and then catches him again.
Me too! Me too!
Leia's leaving, and you gotta say goodbye.
The king picks up Windy and swings him around and then puts him down.
Okay, whippersnapper. Go tell your mother and your sister that I'm on my way.
The two boys run out of the room and are heard yelling and screaming down the hallway. The king starts out, but stops in front of the general.
Luke, my daughter is leaving for the academy at Chathos. Won't you come and wish her well? It would mean a lot to her. She truly idolizes you, you know. Come on, the war will wait.
Of course. I'm sorry, my lord. Politics always seem to distress me.
The general rises, and as they head for the door, Kaios pats him on the back.
I know, Luke. I feel the force also. Oh, yeah. Feel that force.
Oh.
Courtyard, Palace of Light, L-I-T-E, Light. Aquilai. A large four-seat speeder sits gleaming in the sun-soaked courtyard. The Princess Leia, about 14 years old, possessing a soft beauty and iron will, is embracing her mother, Queen Breha, a warm, silver-haired... Oh, shit. Did I make someone different Breha and then someone different Queen?
Nope, on both of them.
Okay, well, okay, good. Breha, a warm, silver-haired matron. There are tears on the princess's blue eye. Prince's blue eyes.
Princesses.
Princesses. Oh, yeah, you're right. Sorry. Princess's blue eyes. Biggs and Windy jump around inside the speeder, disrupting the efforts of the one-armed Amber to pack several... Pick up a bag, Leia. To pack several plaxiform cases. Leia embraces the king as he approaches with the general.
Oh, Daddy, I'll miss you so.
The semester will be over before you know it. You'll have a grand time. There are so many new things to learn. I wish I were going.
He gives her a fatherly smile and she hugs him again. The general stands rather formally to one side. The princess, her long auburn hair tied in braids, moves to the general and he bows before her.
May your studies do you honor.
Leia is somewhat embarrassed by the general's formality and can only manage an awkward smile before returning to her parents at the speeder.
Hurry, Leia. You must make it to Ul before nightfall.
The princess's maids-in-waiting, Alana, a short, stocky girl, and Mina, more comely, somewhat the same stature as Leia, with long dark hair, giggle and straighten Leia's dress before she enters the speeder. The princess and Mina hug Alana, whose giggles have turned to tears. The two boys scramble out of the speeder as Amber helps the princess and her maid into the back seat. The speeder is piloted by a trooper of the First Order. What?
Dun, dun,
Oh!
First Order.
Crazy. Amber jumps into the seat beside him, and the speeder starts with a low buzzing sound. The princess waves to her family, and Mina waves to Alana as the speeder slowly glides out of the courtyard. War Room. Underground Fortress, Aquilai. The War Room is a mess of glass enclosures, electronic wall displays, monitors, and computer stations. General Skywalker enters a control room, followed by a convoy of military aides of various ranks. As the group hurry through the crowded room, men rise and salute the new arrivals. The general steps before a giant display of the galaxy. Small symbols flash on and off over various portions of the big board. The general studies it intently.
Montrose! Captain Montrose, one of the Oh, that's you.
Captain Montrose, one of the general's aides, snaps to attention.
Sir,
What's the TQ on this?
the last frigate to leave the Imperial capital was at 2340, sir.
Have any ships at all left the planet? Check with the guild on Horton 3.
At 2400, a full battalion of Star Destroyers left for what is projected to be Anchorhead or a nearby system.
And no word from Whitson. He should have reported by now. Captain Prue!
An older, academic-looking aide steps forward.
Sir,
What do you make of this?
a battalion is invasion force, but the Empire controls that entire part of the galaxy. A revolution, maybe. At any rate, they're going to the wrong direction to be any trouble for us.
The general ponders this for a few moments, then speaks almost to himself.
I don't know. It doesn't feel good.
Sir?
Put him on alert.
A loud uproar is heard on the far side of the war room. Everyone turns to see a foreign-dressed warrior pushing his way past several guards and war room bureaucrats. The warrior, with his long hair tied in an odd bun on the top of his head, is Kane Starkiller. He is followed by his son Anakin, who rudely pushes the pesky bureaucrats out of the way.
It's restricted.
Have to wait.
Get out of my way, boy, before I grind you into the surface, etc. That's right.
So weird. As the dauntless Starkiller approaches the general, the guards stop in bewilderment as General Skywalker rushes up to the warrior and embraces him. The two Jedi warriors laugh jubilantly and slap one another as the aides and bureaucrats look on in amazement.
Kane Starkiller, you old muscle rat. What a sight. We heard that you had been executed.
So the Empire would like to believe. I've been in the Kessel system. You remember little Anakin.
Does that mean? Sorry, I got distracted. Kane puts his arms around his son, who has been making eyes at one of the cute young female aides. He bows before the general.
He takes after his mother. It's so good to see you.
It's wonderful to be with another Jedi again. There are so few of us left.
The cute just one. The cute aide goes back to her duties, flirting with Anakin as she passes. The young warrior pinches her on the ass, which startles her, but she goes on like nothing happens.
Okay.
What a sight.
Oh my god. The two Jedi stand looking at one another, hardly believing the other is real. Finally, the general realizes his aides are standing around, gawking at the duo.
Wake up, gentlemen. You're on alert. Keep me posted on that battalion.
Control station, underground fortress, Aquilai. The general, Starkiller, and his son enter a small glass-enclosed control office. They sit, and an awkward silence passes as each man waits for the other to speak.
I've come for your help.
Anything you ask. You're a Jedi brother. We're one.
My friend, we've been through much together. I've been through much since we parted. I've lost much. The Empire has chased us halfway across the galaxy. There is no refuge. One day they will come here. Take my son as your Padawan learner. He would be a Jedi. I've trained him from birth. He's reached the 5th stage. He fought in the Cassilian Civil Wars and commanded a Hubble expedition to the Cone Systems. He's a good boy, Luke, and one hell of a fighter.
The general looks down, somewhat embarrassed. He scratches his head, then smiles.
Old friend, you do me too much honor. I was never a match for you. Why don't you finish this training yourself?
I'm too old, Luke. I can't go on. You must finish it.
What kind of talk is this? You're not the old Starkiller I remember. Too old?
Starkiller suddenly ignites in a rage and swings his left forearm down with a mighty blow across the solid chrome desk the general is sitting on. The old Jedi warrior's forearm cracks in two, spewing forth wires and many fine multicolored electronic components. The artificial limb flops lifelessly to Starkiller's side. The warrior rips open his tunic, revealing a plastic chest stuffed with flashing electronic parts.
I'm not the same. Clearly. There is nothing left but my head and right arm. I've lost too much, Luke. I'm dying.
The general bows his head in sorrow for one of the greatest warriors in the galaxy, and a dear friend.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I keep losing control. I'm very tired. Take my son. The Jedi Bendu must survive. We must pass it on. Only a Jedi can stop the Empire. We're very old, Luke. A new generation of Jedi must be started. Take him. Teach him the way of the Jedi Bendu.
Captain Montross burst into the office and somewhat excitedly salutes the general.
Sir, we've picked up something. An asteroid or solid comet moving away from the Anchorhead system.
War Room, Underground Fortress Aquilai. The general rushes out of the control station and back to the giant galactic display. He is followed by Montross, Starkiller, and his son.
Are you sure it's not the battalion?
A solid object. It's as big as our third moon.
It's too large to be man-made, and it's too slow to be a comet.
Analysis?
It's too far out.
I'll be with the king. Report as soon as you can get a reading on it. Captain Starkiller, from now on you stick close to me.
The older Starkiller smiles and puts his arm around his old friend. Dining chamber, Palace of Light, Aquilai. King Chaos moves his arm around Breha's waist as they stand on a balcony watching the giant twin suns of Aquilai disappear behind a distant dune range. The general enters, rather in a rush, followed by the young Starkiller, who is now dressed in the white uniform of the Aquiline Star Force. He still wears the distinctive Cassilian hair knot. They bow before the king.
Aren't they beautiful, General? Always and never the same. You're just in time for dinner.
I have come for other reasons. Could
Relax, General. We will discuss it, but over dinner. There are times, Luke, when I find you a bit too rigid. Is this your new disciple?
Starkiller is ill at ease and bows again.
Anakin Starkiller, sir. Oh, that's not me. That's not me.
Who's Starkiller?
It's whoever's Anakin.
It's yeah.
Anakin Starkiller, sir.
Yeah.
Where's Kane?
He left for the spaceport at Gordon to visit an old friend, Han Solo, the Euralian.
We are becoming quite a refuge.
The group sits at a large table and food is brought in by servants. They eat. Starkiller is nervous and watches the general to make sure he is being proper.
Lord, several events have occurred which lead me to believe we are in imminent danger of attack. There's no longer time for discussion and debate.
What events?
Whitson, our best agent, has disappeared in the Imperial capital. There's unusual military traffic in the S4 sectors.
Unless you have direct, concrete proof of a pending attack, there is nothing I can do.
By the time we have proof, it may be too late.
Luke, I'm leaving tonight for AMSO. I'm meeting with the full assembly first thing in the morning. I am not going to approve the alliance treaty, and I will get your defense measure approved. Just be patient. You will have the war code.
Tomorrow may be too late. My lord, I need the war code now. We must get our forces into space.
But it must be done legally, with everyone's approval. Tomorrow you will have that. I doubt the Empire would attack before receiving our answer. The separation of war powers is the one condition upon which you assumed command of our forces. You're a friend, Luke, and I trust you. But you're also an outlander who controls a great deal of power. I can't forsake my oath any more than you can. Just be patient. You will have the code tomorrow.
Captain Montross enters the large chamber and bows before the king.
I bring a report to General Skywalker, my lord.
You may deliver it.
Sir, the asteroid has disappeared from our scopes. There is no trace of it.
Were they able to analyze it?
It never came within range, sir.
The general rises, quickly followed by Starkiller.
Excuse us, my lord. We'd better get back. I will wait patiently for the approval.
The general and Montross exit the chamber. Starkiller takes one last bite of his dinner, then dashes after his mentor. War Room, Underground Fortress, Aquilai. The general sits rigidly, facing the big galactic display board. Several aides and bureaucrats rush to and fro, ignoring the general. He is asleep. Captain Prue approaches the general and snaps to attention. The general's eyes open.
What are the results?
Negative, sir.
Are you sure?
Absolutely.
It's just not possible. Something that size can't just disappear without a trace. Check it again.
That's the 10th negative, sir.
I said check it again.
Captain Prue retreats to a computer station. The general looks around for Starkiller.
Starkiller?
Everyone near the general turns, but Starkiller doesn't show.
Where is that boy? Montrose!
Montross rushes to the general and snaps to attention.
Page Starkiller.
Montross goes back to his station, and a few minutes later, Starkiller is paged over the PA system. The general waits, watching the big board. Eventually, Starkiller stumbles out of an enclosed computer closet, fastening his pants and tucking in his tunic. A moment later, the cute female aide, rather sheepishly, exits the computer closet. She is also in the process of putting her uniform back together. Starkiller rushes up to the general and snaps to attention. The general lets him stand there for a moment, not acknowledging his presence. Then suddenly, without warning and in one masterful flash motion, the general stands, grabs a small baton attached to his belt, which immediately ignites into a 4-foot glowing laser sword, and swings at the young warrior's head. In an equally quick moment, Starkiller ignites his laser sword and blocks the general's blow. Everyone in the war room is surprised and startled. After a moment, they rush to the general. Starkiller and the general stand motionless for a few moments, with laser swords locked in midair, creating a low buzzing sound. Finally, the general grins and Starkiller hesitantly relaxes. They lower their swords and turn them off.
You are trained well, but remember, a Jedi must be single-minded, a discipline your father obviously never learned, hence your existence. Clean yourself up.
Gross. Discipline. Oh, no, that's you.
Oh, discipline is essential. Your mind must follow the way of the Bendu.
It won't happen again, sir. There are many new...
General Skywalker, White Calm. The general moves to a control station and picks up a phone. Sir, Captain Whitson has just been admitted to medvac.
What's his condition?
No data, sir.
I'm on my way.
It's a movie phone. Medvac emergency room. Right? Underground fortress. Captain Starkiller waits in an outer chamber as General Skywalker rushes into the medvac emergency room, where several doctors are working on the prostrate Whitson.
What's his condition? Is he conscious?
Oh, shit.
You want me to do it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Partially. He'll be all right. A few bruises, primary exhaustion.
Whitson thrashes around in a semi-conscious state. He sees the general.
What happened, boy? What's going on?
The Imperial Star Force is already on its way, and not far behind me. They're going to attack.
Are you sure?
I have tapes. A giant space fortress.
He struggles to give General Skywalker his ring.
As big as our third moon.
Bigger. It's unlike anything I've ever seen. Sophisticated deflection system. Work in opposition to the suns.
They will show up on our screens at sunrise. They'll attack before that.
The general rushes into the outer chamber where Captain Starkiller is waiting for him.
Take the fastest land speeder to Chathos. Pick up Princess Leia, and only Princess Leia. Return by way of the Great Reef. Most speed.
Starkiller exits and the general goes to an intercom and pushes several buttons.
Montrose,
Sir,
full alert. Everything. Get the royal family back here.
the princess is at Chathos. There are no transports.
I've already sent Captain Starkiller for her. Contact the king. First priority. He's probably still en route to Amsel. Use the scan comm. I'm on my way.
War room. Underground fortress, Aquilai. The war room is on full alert. Everyone is at attention, waiting for the command that will put them into action. The general enters a communications center, followed by many aides. Captain Montross and the comm aide salute.
We're having a problem getting through, sir. There's a great deal of interference.
Could be jamming.
Try a surface link through Amsel.
The aides go back to the comlink system to try to get a line through to the king.
We should be able to spot them at sunrise. That's not too far off.
They'll attack with sunrise. Until the king gives us that code to start the war computers, we just have to sit tight.
All units are on alert, sir.
Have you made contact yet? This is one hell of a way to run a war.
Sir?
Courtyard, Academy of Chathos, Aquilai. A land speeder roars into a courtyard of the academy at Chathos. Starkiller jumps out and runs up to the large, heavy doors of the academy. They are locked. He bangs madly on the carved metallic door until finally an old woman manages to swing it open. Starkiller rushes past her into the main courtyard where Princess Leia and her handmaiden Mina struggle with two large cases. They are followed by two very old matrons dragging several more cases.
Forget the cases. We've no time.
These are my things. They must...
I said forget them and hurry.
Just who do you think you are?
Starkiller grabs the princess by the arm and hauls her to the speeder. Mina and the old woman run after them.
I will not be treated like this. You bring my things. My father will have your head, etc.
Leia struggles to break away from the young warrior's grasp as he opens the door of the speeder.
Settle down.
When the door to the speeder is open, Mina starts in, and Starkiller stops her.
You must stay here. Take the crest.
Starkiller rips the royal crest from the princess's neck and hands it to the startled handmaiden. The old women gasp in horror. The princess starts hitting Starkiller with little result.
Mina's not staying. I'm not leaving her. You can't.
Starkiller punches her square in the jaw and knocks her out cold. All right, I'm just going to read that again. Starkiller punches her square in the jaw and knocks her out cold. Mina is panic-stricken. Absolutely. One of the old women faint, and another starts for Starkiller with a large staff.
Did he just knock two people out with one punch?
Is it two? I think it was just
Well, he
one.
knocked her out and then made the other one faint.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
well,
yeah,
oh,
it's- you
yeah,
kinda
that's the
did.
1-2 punch, yeah.
Good point. Valid point.
That's badass. She'll be all right. I'm taking her to safety, as ordered. You will wear the crest and continue as before.
The authority of Starkiller's voice stops the old lady. He places the princess into the speeder and maneuvers it out of the courtyard. Mina puts on the crest as the speeder races away from the academy. Oh. War room. Underground fortress Aquilai. Queen Breha, Biggs, and Windy are escorted into a rest area of the war room. General Skywalker sits rigidly in the chair of the communications area, apparently asleep.
Sir, we've made contact.
The general opens his eyes and takes the intercom mic.
What is it, General?
The Empire will attack on the rising of the sun. My agent made it back. I now have proof. I need the war code.
I'll relay it directly to the computer. Is Breha...
The royal family is safe. Starkiller has gone after Princess Leia.
I'm on my way back.
Red Plains, Aquilai. The small caravan of 4 speeders sits motionless on the vast red plains of Aquilai. The king returns the intercom to the pilot and takes a small metallic card and from around his neck and gives it to the co-pilot.
Send this sub-land, Priority 1. Get us back to Calvis immediately.
The 4 speeders turn around and scream away in the direction they came. They pass a huge, ultra-sleek power plow, planting green fungus in endless furrows. 2 clay-covered farmers, riding atop the ponderous machine, watch the speeders disappear over the horizon and into the rising 2 suns. A bright object twinkling in early morning heavens catches the eye of the older of the 2 farmers, and he brings the machine to a lumbering halt. The young farmer also notices the object and stares skyward, shading his eyes to get a better view. Suddenly, there is a huge, bright atomic flash on the horizon. A few moments later, a thunderous shaking, followed by high winds, tumbles the older farmer from his perch. A second flash on the opposite horizon, brings another jolting earthquake, and the younger farmer collapses, terror frozen on his face. Ready room, spaceport, outpost, Aquilai. Chaos. Red scramble lights are flashing. Alert horns and attack buzzers create an unbelievable cacophony. Air warriors with the distinctive circle and cross medallion on their white spacesuits Pretty sure that's a KKK thing. Scramble out on the low concrete ready room, grabbing helmets and space packs as they race out of the door.
Their high white peaked helmets. They're burning cross swords.
Oh. Attack runway, spaceport outpost, Aquili. 12 pilots and navigators dash in unison to a line of waiting two-man starships of the destroyer class. Ground crews scurry back and forth, loading last-minute armament and unlocking power couplings. Pilot leader, a rugged, handsome boy of 20, gives his ground crew a signal that he is okay. He has a winning smile and a distinctive sore along the side of his face.
Scar.
His
He has a scar.
No, it's
Runny sword.
is it? Oh, I thought it was. Is it a scar?
Scar.
It's so flowery. I don't know.
It's a scar.
I think sore.
It's a scar.
Sore, I think, works a lot better.
Very distinctive.
It's disgusting. He just has a little herpes. It's fine.
Oh, I'm reading it SOAR. Like he's got this heightened, like elated sore on his face.
Oh no.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
No.
Okay,
You're
read some
wrong.
Jane Austen because that shit's in there.
Okay.
No, I don't know what. His crew chief pats him on the back. Yeah, knock him out all the way back to Alderaan. The canopy is closed and the powerful starship moves into the runway. Other crewmen say goodbye to their pilots. Some grin, some kidding. All with a great deal of hidden emotion. The din of 24 retro rockets cuts through the uproar, and 6 silver spacecraft leave the runway and disappear into the morning cloud cover. War room, underground fortress Aquili. The general stands before a giant display of the Aquiline solar systems. Montross signals the general.
They're away, sir. 6 from Gordon. All other spaceports were hit. The king hasn't arrived yet.
Keep checking. Put those fighters' intercom over the PA.
The general sits at one of the intercom panels and puts on a headphone. A row of monitors is before him. He turns to Montross.
Where are they?
Space. Aquili in eclipse. The eerie reddish-yellow planet of Aquili slowly drifts into view from total eclipse. A small, bright speck orbiting the planet sparkles in the light of the twin suns. The 6 deadly Aquiline starships settle ominously, so dry, into the foreground, moving swiftly toward the orbiting speck. As the sleek starships move closer, the orbiting speck is revealed to be a gargantuan space fortress.
Is it like a Death Star?
It might be.
Is it a moon?
No, it's a.
It's a
No,
moon-sized satellite. The moon-sized satellite fortress dwarfs the approaching fighters. Every few moments, explosions create blinding flash on the planet's surface, as the fortress bombards the planet with a fusillade of laser bolts. Nice. Before we get into the attack, I'm just gonna say, want to take a break and get a little bit of water?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm not opposed to it.
Oh, good, good. Maybe we could talk about what's happened so far, just so, everyone's caught up and, not weirded out.
Oh, yeah. Of course, I still can't get over the multi-pleaser rifles.
Multi-pleaser.
It's the orgasmerator.
Yeah.
Clearly, he picked up some moves though, because he was right in that computer closet.
Yeah, he was.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The-
Woo!
The 70s in
Holy shit.
space.
Yeah.
I also like how he
I-
just
I- it's-
straight up punched the princess.
Punched,
Yeah.
We just
punched
remember-
Princess Leia in the face.
This was 45 years ago. The values dissonance is so real right now.
It is.
Also,
It
he
really
did
is.
advise
And
her
she's
to calm
established
down.
as being
Yeah.
a 14-year-old child.
Oh, that's right.
He punched a 14-year-old child who is royalty in
Yep.
the face.
Right in the mouth.
Just
Yep,
because.
just
Yeah.
Blap, because that's and well, he did tell her to settle down first.
He did. He said,
He
"Settle
did.
down, you."
And she did,
was
yeah.
like, "I will not."
Yeah.
And then he said, "I'm on."
like, "All right."
He said, "You about to get punched the fuck out."
Well,
and
he's
she
like,
did.
oh, I've tried everything.
And then Princess
Yeah.
caught hands. I'm sorry. That's just.
Wow.
He tried everything he could. Settle down.
Yeah, that was. And
That's
just,
literally-
and then she just-
Settle down, you.
Just out of
And
nowhere.
then afterwards, to the other
That'll
people,
do it.
She'll be fine. Don't worry.
She'll be good.
She's fine. She's
He
14.
just,
Yeah.
he just
It's-
knocked her out. But
yeah.
don't worry, she'll be fine.
No,
She
yeah.
doesn't have a
in this
concussion or
world, yeah,
anything.
you just lay somebody out with one, especially probably someone who's never taken a punch in their entire life.
Oh,
you just
yeah.
hit them hard enough to render them unconscious. Totally good. Brain bouncing around inside of the skull. Super.
She will recover. She will be fine. She will not have any cognitive issues at a later date. I am
it's okay to
certain
use
that
the
the
Force.
princess
Oh,
is
yeah.
well.
He used the force.
He
already.
did, yeah. Oh God.
Oh dear God.
I'm
Oh,
gonna get a little bit of water.
oh no.
It is,
Before I die.
It is so overly, just overly descriptive of everything where it's completely unnecessary.
And there have been so many characters that have had like 2 lines.
Yeah.
Like so many extra people have come in and said 1 or 2 things.
Yep.
And then like finally at least we're getting scenes where like the general and they get like there's
Yeah,
repetition.
now we're like following characters.
Right. I was like, how many more new characters are going to get introduced into this
They
and
would-
then just leave?
They'd have to make this an animated series, I think, if they really
Seriously.
wanted to
I
get
really
everything
like
out
that
of
they go through the trouble of naming most of the characters that aren't going to come back in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Never
And
again.
they don't even explain the name in the actual movie.
Never again. They're here and gone,
So
but
you
they
know,
got
you're,
a
like, watching the
name.
credits at the end, you're like, oh shit, who's Steve?
Yeah.
Steve, I remember
Space
him.
Steve. Wait, no, that was Steve. That was Space Steve. I forget.
And then one ship was magnetically floating, but the rest were magically floating.
I know there was so much science and magic in all of this. Yeah.
Yeah, the drink magically rising from
Yeah.
an elevator hidden in the bar.
Yeah, not just because they knew how to do that, but yeah, it was magic.
Magic. Magical.
If we've still got it running, Color Circuit will be right back with Rough Draft Theater right after this. Stay tuned.
Great.
It seemed the thing to do at the time.
Right.
It's not a good script.
Oh no!
No. I mean,
It's a bad script.
the rampant sexism for one thing. My
Holy yeah! No, that was one of
There've
the things.
literally been what 4 female characters. 2 had lines. 1 got knocked the fuck out.
Yep.
Yeah.
One got banged in a closet with no dialogue.
Right. Oh, 5 if you can. Yeah, the
She got her
A.
ass grabbed though.
Yeah.
So.
Oh,
She
okay,
did.
So
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know that. Yeah.
Yeah, first he grabbed her ass, and then she's like, "Oh, it's
And
whatever."
she was like, "I'm into it," and then left.
Well, Space 70s was a very different
Space 70s
I guess so, yeah.
was a sexy, sexy time. Just
It's a little
literally
ridiculous.
Play and grab ass is what's happening.
Yep.
Literally.
That's how we do.
Are you guys seeing like a lot of the horrible bureaucratic tedium that was in like the prequels that's in this?
It's weird how much of it is call forwards, you know,
Yeah.
to stuff. But yeah, it's just they really wanted to get into the inner workings of the bullshit of imperial bureaucracy.
Yeah.
Of space politics.
Yeah,
Space-
space
Yeah,
politics.
yeah.
Which nobody cares about.
This is pretty much Dune,
Yeah.
I think.
You know?
It
You
is,
know?
and I like Dune.
Yeah.
And this is Dune, but it's like an even worse version of Dune.
It's DOON.
It's with an umlaut.
Dune.
It seems like it's basically like trying to hold him back from being just like a cowboy. Like, fuck it, I'm gonna go just destroy everything.
Yeah.
It's just
Oh.
like
There shall
no,
be
you got
none of
someone to
that
hold you in check for a second.
cowboyery.
Yeah.
We shall not allow
Oh
that.
man. Yeah.
Guys, get ready. Chewbacca's coming.
Yep. Strap in.
Gonna talk some words though.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I don't know what Chewbacca voice should be.
All right, great. Hey, Terrible Tweenie, thank you very much. But did you guys know, fun fact, how do you say his name?
Toshiro Mifune.
That's the guy from all the Kira Kurosawa movies, right?
Basically, and
Okay.
he was fucking
I
amazing.
love
Amazing
him
actor.
so much.
We say the fuck words here.
We say the
Yeah,
fuck
we
words?
can say the fuck
fucking
words.
amazing.
That's a
Fuck
really cool
yeah.
fact. Yeah.
We've just been
Oh,
demonetized.
finish the thing. What is
Oh,
it?
well, by definitely Bond. So Toshiro Mifune was originally offered the roles of Obi-Wan and Darth Vader. Both roles based off of previous roles the actor had. It was turned down by him since he didn't understand or believe in the project.
Man.
Which is
It's like they
good.
play both
No, I
roles
know.
simultaneously.
Well,
Yeah.
it's just all the stuff, you know, all the Kurosawa stuff that he did and the whole thing about it being based off of the Hidden Fortress.
Yeah, that's
It's just
right.
like, I can see why you'd want as much of a goddamn badass as Toshiro Mifune on your project, but that would still have been. It was like having what's his name as Hogun in all the Thor movies. Was it
shit.
Takeshi Kaneshiro? No.
No.
Tadanobu Asano. No. Was it?
Who are you talking? Which character?
Hogan the Grim in Warriors 3. He's the one who gets schooled by Hela.
Might be.
Because he was in all the Thor movies.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
And then he
got pieced up.
Well,
at the-
yeah. I don't know what you say.
Well, I
That.
can't think of
Spoilers.
his name. So anyway. Well.
Yeah. Anyway, well-known Japanese actor. The cultural literacy is deficient right
Yeah.
now.
Sorry.
Yeah, we're just gonna
We're
talk
not
about Akira
racist.
Kurosawa
Anyway,
movies
he-
for the
he was an
next.
awesome actor. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi.
Stray Dog. Go watch Stray Dog. I love Stray Dog. Akira Kurosawa.
Best.
So good.
So good. Yeah, let's get back to it, shall we? This
Must we?
thing.
I mean, yes.
No, we're good.
We shall.
Oh yeah.
In this next scene, we have like 8 pilots, and I wanted them. I thought I'd just make like someone all 8 pilots, but I didn't. That would be kind of amazing. Wait till the scene where there's like 12 characters, and then there's 5 of us.
Oh yeah. This is gonna be interesting.
Aquilean starship, Aquilion? I can't remember what I said.
I think it's Aquilion.
Aquilion? Okay.
Aquilian.
Aquilian starship interior. Pilot leader in the first ship signals to his navigator, who sits in a small, isolated glass bubble to the rear of the craft. General Skywalker is seen on one of many monitors. A view of the space fortress is on another. The rest are filled with various computer readouts and displays. One of the other starships reports to pilot leader.
Look at the size of that thing. Hey, Bowman, I hope you remember to bring your Papa gun, because I think we caught us a big one this time.
Cut off, Devil 6. Stand by.
It looks like they're still using the basic what is that? Tristation configuration?
Oh.
Use a ranger defense. Concentrate on breath ports and lock areas.
Affirmative, base. Copy and transmit. Devil 2, check your rotation plates.
Roger, boss. We're getting a threshold disturbance on Gyro 3.
Switch over, 5. Cover it. Devil Pack, generate a spread 6 formation. May the force of others protect you.
Oh my god.
Again.
What?
This is terrible.
The force of others.
What does that even mean?
All of us just have to do George Lucas voices for the really out there
Oh
shit
my
that he's
God.
writing.
I think that's you, right?
You the pilot?
No, I'm Devil.
And
Oh, go back. Oh, the pilot from back. Oh shit.
yeah, the first one.
Oh, what was my pilot voice? It doesn't matter. Settle in. Devil Pack, stand by. Mark 5, break off. Here we go. God save us all.
Wait, God's in this too?
God
Yeah,
save
he's,
Yes,
he
she
forces
is.
himself on others. I don't know.
As long as the force of others protects him.
Yeah.
Again.
It will.
That is new.
Oh. Space! Aquilian starship. Fuel pods are jettisoned. The half-dozen fighters break off into a power line attack on the huge fortress. Multiple laser bolts streak from the starships, creating small explosions on the complex surface of the fort. Interior, main corridor, Imperial Space Fortress. Oh, so glad they found Death Star as like a name. The chaos of battle echoes through the vast corridors of the fortress. Walls buckle and cave in, sucking debris and personnel into the vacuum of outer space. Alarm sirens scream as soldiers scramble to large turbo-powered laser gun emplacements. Sergeants yell orders through the smoke and confusion. Men and robots of various shapes and sizes run to their battle stations. War room.
Of various shapes and
Yeah,
sizes.
yeah. War room, underground fortress, Aquile. The monitors with pictures from the starships suddenly go blank. Technicians check channels as others in the room silently listen to the action over the intercom. The general remains calm, but concerned.
Tighten it up. Devil 2, tighten it up. Watch those towers.
Heavy fire, boss. 23 degrees.
I see it. Pull in. We're picking up some interference.
Wow, I've never seen such firepower.
Pull in, Devil 2. Pull in. Chewie.
I'm all right, boss. I've got a target.
There's too much action, Chewie. Get out.
Break off, Chewie. Acknowledge. Devil 6, can you see Devil 2?
I've lost him. There's a very heavy fire zone on the side. My radar's jammed.
He's gone! No, wait, there he is. Fin damage, but he's all right. I don't know.
Sorry.
A sigh of relief sweeps across the war room. The monitors flash on, then off again.
Watch your back, boss! Watch your back!
Aquilean starship. The speedy little fighters dart back and forth across the soft underbelly of the fortress. Isn't it all metal? No, let's use a little wood. We'll save some money.
It's made out of pillows.
Oh, yeah.
Space pillows.
Ooh, yeah.
You know what would make this space station great? Just like a shit ton of pillows.
Just on the bottom, right? Like just
Yeah.
on
You're
the
on
bottom.
your spacewalk and you need
Yeah.
a place
Cozy?
to go.
It would be
yeah.
nice and cozy.
And also in
Space
space,
nap.
is there a bottom?
Is
Ah ha
there?
ha.
We're going to find it tonight.
Oh!
On Rough Draft Theater.
All we need is a closet, and we're good.
Anakin.
I got it. Converge on South Access Point, port 9394. It appears accessible. I'm going to map the surface. Devil 4, cover me.
Pilot Leader and Devil 4 dive in unison through a forest of radar domes, antennae, and gun towers. Devil 4 fires into the protrusions as the two starships crisscross the surface of the fortress. Suddenly, a dense barrage of laser fire erupts from a tower, catching Devil 4 broadside. The spacecraft bursts into a million flaming pieces. Pilot Leader reacts to the loss of his wingman,
Oh, snap.
but continues on his mission. Sub-hallway, Imperial Fortress. Constant explosions rock the interior of the fortress. Civilians, including women and children, scurry for safety in the panic-ridden hallways.
Here they come.
Two construction robots, R2-D2
Hey.
and C-3PO, are blown, slipping and sliding across the hallway floor
Yeah, they
into
are.
some freight canisters. Both robots are rather old and battered. R2 is a short, at 3 feet, claw-armed tripod. His face is a mass of computer lights surrounding a radar eye. 3PO is a tall, gleaming android of human properties. He is thin, with a totally metallic surface of an Art Deco kind of design.
Ooh.
He just stops and says, hey, remember the false Maria from Metropolis? Like that.
Dat me.
It's like that.
Dat me.
The robots attempt to get out from under the canisters, but rushing gas from the broken pipe keeps knocking them over.
Sounds hilarious.
This is madness. We're going to be destroyed. I'm still not accustomed to space travel.
The external bombardment doesn't appear to be concentrated in this area. The structure has exceeded the normal stress quotient by 0.4, although there appears to be no immediate danger.
No immediate danger. You're faulty. Oh, this is madness. R2 gives 3PO a sheepish look and clings to a side rail for dear life as debris flies through the hallway. A clean starship. Devil 2, or Chewie, as we now know, a young hotshot of about 16 years, miraculously dives his ship through a virtual wall of laser fire and blasts a huge radar dish into dust. Chewie signals his navigator, who lets out a whooping cheer as the craft veers into a victory roll.
Great moves, Chewie. Regroup at point 201. Coincide, Devil 6.
Mace, your map projection shows a weak point at the southern portal. Niner, point 6. Concentrate the attack on that point. Coordinate.
I see it. It looks good.
Devil 5 and Devil 3 bob and weave in formation toward a giant transformer jutting into the fort's surface. Did I assign a Devil 3?
I didn't see it.
Oh, someone take it.
I've gotta. We're hit. We're hit.
Eject. Eject. Babs. Babs, do you read?
I'm
Babs.
okay. I can hold it. Clear me a little, Devil 5. Watch it. Watch it.
Devil 3 wobbles a little, then drops away sharply, plowing into a laser gun emplacement, causing a hideous series of chain reaction explosions.
Come on, Babs.
No.
Babs.
Sub-hallway, Imperial Space Fortress. A huge explosion rips a large hole in the ceiling of a sub-hallway. R2 and 3PO are in a state of shock as they scramble through the rubble. There is a constant sound of creaking and snapping as the sections of the hallway resettle in the fortress superstructure.
You're a mindless, useless philosopher. Come on. Let's go back to work. The system is all right.
Ah, you overweight glob of grease. Quit following me. Get away, get away. Suddenly, the hallway lurches and a dead trooper falls through a gaping hole in the ceiling. The foot of the carcass is caught in the rubble, and it hangs upside down, staring at the two robots. R2 grabs 3PO and they cling to each other in terror.
We're lost. We're destroyed.
3 sharp blasts from an air horn send the 2 androids running for cover in a burned-out doorway. 5 grim-faced troopers riding small rocket platforms past the 2 mechanical men. Governor's Quarter. Imperial Space Fortress. The 5 troopers race through several hallways and finally stop in front of an important-looking office complex. 2 officers dismount and enter the complex. They pass through several heavily guarded doorways until they reach the main chamber. Seated behind a large, cluttered desk surrounded by generals and attachés in Governor Hodak. General Vader paces in front of a row of blank monitors. The 2 officers salute General Vader.
All comlink power is out. 22 transformer sections have been destroyed. Situation is grave on all southern levels. Comlink communication should be repaired shortly.
The officers salute, turn, and leave the chamber. The general turns to Governor Hodak, who looks a little worried.
Don't look so worried. Not even a Jedi could penetrate this fortress. We've already wiped out most of their forces.
If it goes on too long, we'll run over budget. When do the landings begin?
As soon as the attack has been broken. Not long.
A short, stocky attaché salutes the general.
Oh, that's me.
Contamination has set in on quadrants B5 and R4. All sections are sealed. We've lost 2 major power stations in the southern quadrants. That puts Section 5-1 in serious trouble.
The general turns away in controlled anger and embarrassment. War Room, Underground Fortress, Aquili. The general sits in a glass-enclosed computer station watching the battle progress on several monitors. An officer enters and salutes the general.
Analysis reports those ZQ configurations are definitely power transformers. Everything in the southern sectors of the fortress is out.
I'm surprised they're still using external power units. It's a definite weak point. Concentrate on searching for the main cross-link transformer.
The officer exits as Montross rushes in.
The Senate has voted to end the war.
They can't do anything without the King's approval, which gives us a little time. Have you been able to regain contact with the King?
No, sir. All ground communications are jammed.
Send 4 men from 3rd Squad to meet the King and escort him back. Let me know before he arrives. Is Starkiller back with the princess?
No, sir. They're long overdue.
Pilot leader checks in over the intercom.
All right, Base 1, we're in position.
An officer with headphones looks to the general. He signals the attack. Aquilian starships. All 4 starships dive in formation toward a main transformer area,
Don't make this more sexist.
flanked by several solar towers.
Hold your fire until we're within .054. Make it count.
Several AK lasers begin to open fire in the approaching starcraft. The starships direct their fire at a large black transformer, which when hit spurts bright blue and white electrical arcs. One of the starships, Devil 5, explodes and careens out of the formation, leaving an erratic trail of smoke, before eventually crashing into a solar panel. Thanks.
I miss you. I miss you already.
Peace.
Sub-hallways, Imperial Space Fortress. The impact of the exploding starship can be felt throughout the giant fortress. The tall, gleaming 3PO races through several corridors, yelling at R2, who struggles vainly to keep pace with his stubby mechanical feet. I don't care. What do I do? I don't remember what I did.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
it.
Was that it?
I don't care what you do.
I don't care what you do, but I'm getting out. All the power's out. Those explosions are coming from the reactor section. This is the end. Abandon ship.
Our work, we can't leave. It's desertion. It's not possible. It's not possible.
Your programming is so limited. My first order is preservation. You stay. I'm going to eject before the whole thing goes up. 3PO breaks open the seal on an emergency life pod. A red warning light begins to flash and a low hum is heard. The lanky chrome android works his way into the cramped 4-man craft.
These life pods aren't for us. It's not right.
A new explosion, this time very close, sends dust and debris through the narrow passageway. Flames lick at the two robots. The run-sized R2 jumps into the life pod.
It's the end. Eject, eject.
The safety door snaps shut, and the pod ejects from the fortress. Aquilean starships. The terrified androids in the life pod speed away from the fortress and past the attacking starships.
Object approaching. Attack bearing.
I thought Devil 4 was dead. Whatever.
That was 5.
That's 5, yeah.
That's 5.
Well, 4 died earlier, though, too.
4.
He was your wingman.
Wait, I
3 was Babs.
No, 3 died.
No, 4 died, too.
4 died,
I was
too?
the wingman
4,
for the
5, and-
leader.
You did
Oh.
die, you're right.
Damn.
Well,
Oh,
now you're
shit.
devil something.
I
Oh,
came back to life.
George.
Be something.
It's a live pod.
miracle.
Forget it. We've got...
Devil 4 is hit by laser fire, died again, and disintegrates, leaving a trail of flaming particles. The two remaining craft continue the assault. Chewie and pilot leader watch the remains of Devil 4 disappear. The general appears over one of the monitors.
Analysis indicates transformer code 03 is the main relay. Hit it and the whole thing goes dead.
We're on our way.
Governor's quarters, Imperial Space Fortress. A row of monitors and the main overhead lights go on, and a trooper appears on one of the screens. Oh. Internal relays operative. All power restored. All contaminated areas sealed. An officer appears on another monitor.
Only 2 enemy craft remain operative. We calculate victory by 0300.
We're from the same town.
You're my brother.
You're my brother. Brother. General Vader switches to another monitor.
Alert the invasion forces. The planet is ours. A 3-hour war. You expected longer. Jedi or not, we've beaten him, and the culture is intact. Shouldn't it be?
A truly great prize for the Empire. They have a treasure of biotic science, genetics, cloning. They've added 200 years to a lifespan. Remember, you must capture at least one member of the royal family alive. The Aquilai family has ruled this system for 10,000 years. The people will follow no other. If the royal line is broken, there is a good chance the entire population will destroy themselves and their knowledge before submitting to our rule.
The general is interrupted by a call on one of the monitors.
We've received a message from the planet.
War room, underground fortress, Aquilai. General Skywalker watches a giant computer display of the space fortress mapped by the starships. An aide approaches.
Sir, the king's convoy is destroyed at Calden. All the bodies were contaminated.
I will audience with the queen. Who knows of this?
Many. It came through civilian sources.
Confine Senator Sandage to his quarters. Use any pretext. Where is the senator now?
Sandage and several other senators enter the computer station.
Right here, General. It's over. We've already relayed peace terms to the Empire, and they've been accepted. Your war has ended.
The general is angry and stands pointing at the senators. They jump... threatening. They jump back, as if the general were pointing a gun at them.
Senator, this war isn't over. It's just begun. I take my commands from the royal family.
The Queen concurs. I have her written decree. It is to be implemented immediately. I order you to cease the attack.
Not likely.
Treason? Revolution? The people won't follow you, General, nor will your troops. I suggest you follow your orders.
General Skywalker stands angrily pondering the situation. Sandage and the other senators are tense, a little afraid that he might cut them down on the spot.
Well, General?
Life pod. Sky over Aquilai. The reddish-yellow mass of Aquilai seems to engulf the tiny life pod containing the 2 fleeing androids.
It's desertion. They'll destroy us. How could this happen?
Oh, that's funny. The damage doesn't look as bad from out here. Aquilai starships. Pilot Leader and Devil 2 make a second dive on the now smoldering transformer area. All firing from the fortress suddenly stops. Pilot leader looks back to his navigator, who is equally puzzled. The two fighters continue to attack the now silent fortress.
I don't get it. What do you think, boss?
General Skywalker appears on the monitors.
Base 1 to Devil Leader. Scramble Code 9er. Break your attack and return to base. Repeat, break your attack. Confirm.
They're hurt, sir, but they still have power. We should finish.
Break off. The war is over. Run on white lights. Get back here, Mace. We're going to need you.
Confirmed, Base 1. We're on our way. Did you copy, Chewie?
Roger, boss.
The two starfighters break off the attack and start back toward the planet. Without warning, the fort directs concentrated fire at the two starfighters. Devil 2 instantly bursts into flames, then disintegrates. Chewie's dead.
No!
Pilot leader's tail section is hit and the ship pinwheels toward the planet. Blood covers pilot leader's immobile face. Oh, this... Okay. We're under fire! They're still shooting! I thought it was over! We're hit! We're hit! Pilot is dead! Ejecting. The dead pilot leader is jettisoned. Oh, he ejected the pilot leader. What?
Keep reading.
No, I'm sorry. That's funny. Like, this body's weighing me down.
Why is it in quotation marks?
Former pilot leader. He's not a pilot leader anymore. He's dead.
Right.
That makes sense.
But the navigator's eject panel is dead. He struggles with it, then bangs on the canopy to no avail. The navigator is still trapped in the craft when it explodes, leaving only a puff of pink smoke reflected in the rim light of the planet.
Was that the pink smoke?
That's adorable. Desert near outpost Aquilai. Pilot leader's dead body drifts toward his arid mother planet. Atomic rockets kick in occasionally to direct and soften the landing. Two gray-clad troopers stand next to the military land speeder, watching the descending air warrior through electro binoculars. Mace's corpse hits the ground rather hard, creating a whirlwind of dust, and the two troopers rush over to the pilot. The younger of the two troopers, a young boy in his teens, cradles the dead pilot in his arms and begins to cry.
Why is that?
That's weird.
It's important, okay?
War room, underground fortress Aquilai. General Skywalker sits alone, meditating in the deserted war room. Montross approaches the contemplative general.
No sign of Starkiller or the princess. There was much damage in that area. The queen will see you at 1000.
The general doesn't reply. Assembly, departure area, Imperial Space Fortress. General Vader stands behind a row of men and a computer panel. A commander reports to the general. Oh, I lost it. All enemy craft destroyed. 1st and 5th Division, troops and equipment standing by. The general gives a sly smile of approval. Arrival. He's there.
All right.
No. Then takes a microphone from one of the computer technicians. He speaks to the troops and pilots waiting in their huge war machines for the invasion order.
The war is won. With the conquering of this system, we have ushered in a new millennium for the Empire, which will echo throughout the universe. Our reward is the knowledge this system possesses. This planet must be controlled with a minimum of force, but you must not think lightly of this enemy. They have exacted a heavy toll. Today, you will make the Empire complete. Do so with pride and care.
Vader puts down the mic and turns to his commander.
Let the invasion begin.
That's weird. Edge of the Dune Sea.
Dune.
I know, right? Aquilai. Junland, or No Man's Land, where the rugged desert mesas meet the foreboding Dune Sea, the two helpless astro-robots kick up clouds of dust as they clumsily work their way across the desert coastline. The short R2 struggles desperately to keep up with the long-legged 3PO.
It's not possible. We're not built for this. You're nothing more than a dim-witted, emotion-brained intellectual. While we were created is beyond my logic systems. Thanks to you, we're deserters and will probably be destroyed on sight. And on top of that, you're going the wrong way. All this filth is getting.
The towering 3PO stops short and turns on the blabbering mechanical runt. I've had enough of you pragmatic, nearsighted scrap pile. You go your own way. He picks up the tiny robot and tosses him several feet into a large sand dune. 3PO starts off in the direction of the dune sea. R2 struggles to his feet and shakes a metallic claw arm at his disappearing ex-partner.
You'll be malfunctioning within a day. You're going the wrong way, but your way is always the wrong way.
3PO stops and yells to the smaller android. Hey, don't let me catch you following me, begging for help, because you won't get it from me. R2's reply is a rather rude sound, which only an electronic person could make. He turns... I don't know.
Well, fuck you.
Well, it's good. He's people and not things. That's progressive.
He's people.
They have rights. He turns and trudges off in the opposite direction into the rocky desert mesas. Dune Sea, Aquilai. 3PO, hot and tired, struggles over the ridge of the dune only to find more dunes, which seems to go on for endless miles. He looks back at the direction he came. You little malfunctioning twerp. This is your fault. You tricked me into going this way, but you'll do no better. He sits in a huff of anger and frustration, knocking the sand from his joints. Desert Mesa, Aquilai. R2 stumbles through a narrow canyon until he climbs over a small boulder and sees before him a sight he first thinks is a mirage. Nestled in a rock formation is a deserted land speeder. Once the little robot is convinced that he is alone, he approaches the battered speeder and begins to analyze it. He climbs into the pilot's seat and attempts to start the unfamiliar transport. He hears a sound and stops for a moment. He sees nothing, so he continues to fiddle with the control panel until the speeder lurches forward with a start, banging into a large rock. The stubby android is shaken, but neither he nor the speeder seem to be damaged. Shivers run down R2's metal spine, and again he has an eerie feeling that he is being watched. He slowly looks around and sees a large man, Captain Starkiller, standing directly behind him. He is startled, then terrified.
Where's your master?
The little robot clicks and rattles, but doesn't speak.
Can't you speak? How do you relate your data? You're of Corollian manufacture. You should be able to talk. Are you damaged?
Starkiller pokes at the machine, but doesn't see any damage. R2 eyes him suspiciously. The robot turns with a start and discovers a young girl. Princess Leia has been standing next to him for some time.
Well, General, who's your friend?
I don't know. He doesn't seem to be able to talk. Damaged, probably. Jettisoned from a damaged ship.
What do you intend to do with it?
We'll take it with us. Could be a storehouse for of valuable information.
Starkiller guides the android into the small luggage area behind the front seat, then hops into the driver's seat.
I don't want to ride with that thing. I order you to destroy it immediately.
Get in. You've got to hurry if we're going to get across the dune hedge. By nightfall, you're coming, one way or another. Will you join peaceably?
The princess reluctantly gets into the speeder, and it starts with a jolt. Land speeder, Desert Mesas, Aquilai. The speeder flies along a foot or so above the landscape.
You are such a barbarian. I'll have my father cut you into little pieces when we get back. And I'll take pleasure in feeding you to the Gonthas. A little bit each day. I may save your eyes, though. I'll have them petrified and made into a necklace.
Your sweetness is only surpassed by your beauty. Just try to remember, I'm only following orders.
To beat me and abuse me?
I'm afraid I've only learned one way to treat wild animals.
R2 thrashes about, trying to relieve the pressure in his cramped legs.
You stay out of this.
Dune Sea. 3PO struggles to the top of a large dune. He is dirty and hot. His plight seems hopeless. He searches the horizon for any sign of life. A glint of reflected light in the distance reveals an object speeding towards him. The chrome android waves frantically and yells at the approaching speeder. The sleek landscape races past him about 100 yards away. He runs after it, screaming in desperation until he stumbles and falls head over heels down an enormous sand dune. Silently, the speeder sweeps around in a circle and stops behind the immobile robot. Starkiller jumps out of the land speeder and is quickly followed by R2.
We're in a hurry, remember? If you're going to stop for everyone unfortunate along the way, we'll never get back. We're lucky you got the speeder running as it is.
R2 waddles up to his fallen partner and starts pulling on his leg, then runs up and starts pulling on his arm.
Function, it's me. Come on, function. Well, my little friend, you found your tongue. We must help him. We've been lost. Where did you come from?
The little robot runs around his fallen partner, giving him small electric signals from his claw hand. 3PO shudders from head to toe, then regains consciousness. What happened?
You're overheated. Where did you come from? We were jettisoned from 629 PR1. I'm unfamiliar with that ship. What type is it? It's a Class M station.
Oh. It's a Class M station, not a conventional craft. 3PO then stands and shakes the young Jedi's hand. I'm C-3PO. Human-cyborg relations. You kept that part. Your kindness is greatly appreciated. Starkiller and the two robots walk back to the speeder. Both R2 and 3PO are stuffed into the tiny luggage compartment. It is late in the day when the speeder rumbles to a stop in a small desert canyon, surrounded by steep cliffs and broken boulders.
We'll rest here.
At last, the transport is welcome, but my joints are frozen. Everyone climbs out of the low-slung speeder. Starkiller watches the two androids as they stretch their mechanical limbs.
I've got a bad case of dust contamination. I can barely move.
What a forsaken piece this is. We seem to be made to suffer. It's our lot in life. Sir, could you tell... 3PO turns and notices that Starkiller and the princess have disappeared. He looks all around. Where'd they go? They've disappeared.
Maybe they were attacked. I sense danger.
Hidden fortress entrance. Desert Canyon, Aquilai. Captain Starkiller and Princess Leia hurry through a maze of large boulders. That's weird. Until they reach a sheer rock face. Starkiller looks around to see if they were followed. Suddenly, a large section of the rock slides away, revealing a well-lit corridor carved out of the rock. They enter and are greeted by two jubilant guards. Starkiller gives them orders and points in the direction of the speeder. The secret rock door silently slides closed. Main hallway, underground fortress, Aquilai. Starkiller and the princess are greeted by General Skywalker and Montross. They bow before the princess.
General, I want you to do something with this barbarian. Where's my father?
The king is dead, Your Highness.
Hold on. All anger suddenly drains from the princess. She almost timidly asks the next question.
My mother and brothers?
She's here. She's safe. So are your brothers. They're in the main chamber.
Leia, now looking more like a frightened young girl than a vindictive princess, runs down the hallway toward the main chamber. She vainly attempts to hold back the tears. Desert Canyon, Aquilai. The two puzzled androids sit on the land speeder, pondering the disappearances of their savior. Do you suppose we're in danger?
The logic of this environment escapes me.
As night begins to fall and the shadows begin to lengthen, the two robots begin to get a little edgy. The sound of approaching feet startles R2, and he ducks behind his taller friend. Two guards approach the robots.
You will remain calm, and you will remain here.
Certainly. I'm C-3PO. Human-cyborg relations. Your kindness is gratefully appreciated. R2 sits rather suspiciously behind his extroverted friend. Royal Chamber, Underground Fortress, Aquilai. General Skywalker bows low before Princess Leia. She sits on a raised platform, dressed in the royal robes of a planetary ruler. The Queen sits off to one side of the smaller platform. The princess waits for a few moments before she allows the general to rise.
The Senate has been corrupted.
They cannot rule without your wish.
I rule by marriage. With the king dead, I am not strong enough to stop them. Leia is now the true queen. She must be protected. The line must be preserved. I am placing the future of our people in your hands. You must deliver Leia and her brothers to the Ofuuchi system. They will be safe there. General, you must understand. I had no alternative but to condone an end to the hostilities. I deeply believe your campaign could have been successful, but there are things that...
I understand, Your Highness.
The Chrome companies on Ofuchui have offered to supply you with the men and ships necessary to return Leia to the throne.
Can the Chrome companies be trusted?
The price for their cooperation is high. It is waiting for you in Med Center Blue. Guard it as you would the princess herself. No one must know of this mission. There are those among the trusted who would wish us all ill. Take only 2 of your best officers with you. The most loyal. May the force of others be with you.
Mother, you must not stay.
I'm too old for such a journey. The Empire already controls the spaceport cities. You have a long way to travel. It won't be easy.
We will have to travel in disguise. I must have full command. No one can suspect wealth or royal training. I fear the new queen will not stand for this.
Do not put words into my mouth. I will stand for what is necessary.
The general simply smiles. Sub-hallway. Underground fortress, Aquile. The general walks briskly through an isolated hallway, closely followed by Montross.
How is Captain Whitson's recovery?
Very good. He's up and around.
Fine. Have Whitson and, Starkiller report at 0300. I want 2 converted transports. Agricultural type. 2 days provisions, travel papers, weapons. Contact Han Solo at the Gordon Spaceport. I'll talk to him. With speed.
Montross turns and rushes down another hallway. Medical Center Blue, Underground Fortress, Aquile. The general enters a stark white waiting area filled with scholarly-looking gentlemen. An attendant greets General Skywalker and takes him into a small observation chamber overlooking a large operating theater. An elderly doctor greets him.
Good to see you, General. I'm afraid we're not quite ready yet. Thank God you'll be the one taking them, though. Sorry, I'm old.
An attendant brings in one of the scholars from the waiting area and places him on a large operating table surrounded by strange-looking equipment. An ominous-looking clamp is placed on the man's head.
How many are going?
33 of the greatest scientific minds in our system. A high price for freedom.
33 scientists? Transporting a group that size, undetected?
Don't worry, General. All you'll be taking are their minds.
The doctor moves over to a safe-like cabinet guarded by 2 attendants. The general gingerly picks up a small clear vial filled with gray fluid. It has a label which reads, Fubun! Astrodynamics! In the background, the scholar on the operating table is undergoing a form of mechanized brain surgery.
Bloodery's distillation?
Yes, it has been greatly perfected. The brain is condensed into 5 ounces of fluid. This is science, folks. Cloning cell samples are included so that a structural duplicate of the scientist can be reproduced. When the duplicate child reaches the age of 6, he or she begins a series of injections of the brain fluid. By the age of 10 years, they have received all the knowledge and memory of an experienced scientist. An old mind in a young body. We have prepared a special shock belt to carry the vials.
In the background, the limp body of the scholar on the operating table is removed, and another scientist is escorted into the operating theater. Dr. Bloodery, a portly doctor in his 40s, enters the room and shakes hands with the general.
General, this is Dr. Bloodery. He'll be making the trip with you. It's an honor to meet you, General. I'm sure I couldn't be in safer hands.
The Chrome companies are exacting a high price indeed. Politics will be the ruin of us all.
Careful. If we could rid ourselves of the politicians, generals would no longer be necessary. We should be ready by 0300.
The doctors exit, leaving the general alone to watch the huge machine extract another brain. Spaceport, observation deck, Aquilay. Governor Hodak, General Vader walked down a boarding ramp to an observation deck overlooking the conquered city of Gordon. They are followed by a number of aides and officers from the Imperial fleet. Below them, air tanks and other military equipment and supplies are being unloaded.
Not much of a planet.
Darth, you've done well. Do you think you will have the royal family by nightfall?
An advance expedition is already on its way to their underground hideaway. They should reach it by nightfall. But only if this Count Sadage can be trusted.
A man hungry for power can always be trusted. To betray those in power, I'm sure his information is correct.
Hidden Fortress Canyon. Jeez. The huge rock face of the canyon opens and two shabby agricultural land speeders are pushed into the late afternoon sun. R2 and 3PO stand on the far side of the canyon with their guards, watching in amazement. The General and Skywalker, Captain Starkiller, walk behind the men, pushing the land speeders.
We'll take them with us. They know more about that fortress than any 10 men. They will be very useful.
Can they be trusted?
Loyalty can't be programmed. They can be trusted never to harm a living creature, and to always give accurate information, as they know it, to anyone who asks. You just have to remember not to tell them anything that you don't want to fall into the wrong hands.
The General approaches the two robots. R2 shyly moves around his taller companion.
Greetings. I'm Luke. Agricultural engineering. We're going to be traveling together. You're going with us to help set up a Horta station on Banth.
3PO shakes hands with the General. I'm C-3PO, human-cyborg relation. Your kindness is greatly appreciated. 3PO and the General both look down at R2. 3PO gives the smaller android a little kick.
Fusion repair. Or is it R2-D2 fusion repair?
Load them into one of the speeders.
Captain Whitson, walking with a slight limp, emerges from the underground fortress from the royal family. A small group of guards and aides are lined up, standing at attention. The two young princes, Biggs and Windy, hug and kiss their mother goodbye, then jump into the back of the larger four-man speeder. The princess bows before her mother, then embraces her. Tears roll down her cheeks. Her mother wipes them away.
You must learn strength.
The princess turns and moves on to the larger speeder where she is helpless aboard. Helpless. Pretty much. She is helped aboard by Captain Starkiller.
I don't need your help, thank you.
She gives the General an angry look.
I'm afraid he's necessary.
A commotion erupts at the mouth of the underground fortress. Count Sandage, several senators, and 10 to 12 troopers rush into the canyon and block the speeders.
Where are you going? What is this?
In one quick movement, the General moves between Sandage and the Queen. Whitson and Starkiller assume defensive positions in front of the princess and her brothers.
Leia and the boys are being taken to safety. It is my wish. The Empire has assured their safety. They must stay. It is not my wish. General, you've gone too far this time. Arrest him.
5 troops start to move on the General as Sandage draws his laser pistol. Before anyone can complete this action, the General ignites his laser sword and cuts the senator in two.
Damn!
He drops to the ground in a heap, and approaching troops stop in their tracks.
Stop this.
The General, Starkiller, and Whitson replace their swords and bow low to the Queen. All of the troops, senators, and aides do the same. The formalness of the occasion is broken when the Queen embraces the General. She then turns and embraces each of the captains. They are both flustered and somewhat embarrassed.
May the force of others be with you.
Line.
Never gonna get used to that.
What does it mean?
I don't know. The general and his captains head for the speeders, while the queen and all the others return to the, well, minus Sandage, return to the underground fortress. Desert Bluff, Aquile. The two speeders edge their way onto a bluff overlooking the hidden fortress canyon. They stop for one last reflective moment. Forced to leave their closest friends and relatives, the group is deeply moved. The two robots, for the most part, are puzzled. Suddenly, there is a huge atomic flash, followed by a loud rumble, and the entire canyon collapses into a large crater.
What?
I know! The group quietly watches the dust settle. The hidden fortress and all its inhabitants have been destroyed. The general watches the princess, who appears to take it well.
It was the only way we could be safe from treachery.
What?
That's pretty fucking treacherous.
Yeah.
You blew up my mom.
She was getting old.
It was the only way.
Oh.
Oh my god.
Hey, you didn't get punched in the mouth this
Cut
time.
it in half, though. I wasn't sure enough, I guess.
Yeah. It's a heap. Dune Sea, Aquile. The two sleek land speeders glide effortlessly through the vast hills and valleys of the Dune Sea. At the base of the towering dune range, the four-man land speeder stops. The smaller speeder, with Starkiller and the two robots, makes its way to the top of the ridge. Captain Starkiller stops the speeder just short of the top of the ridge. He gets out and continues the rest of the way on foot. The young captain peeks over the dune ridge into the canyon below. Muted sounds and large dust clouds rise from the canyon floor. Starkiller immediately ducks back behind the ridge with an amazed look on his face. He quickly returns to the speeder and picks up the intercom.
Sir, you better take a look at this, but come easy.
The four-man speeder starts with a crack and slowly moves up the side of the imposing dune. It stops next to the smaller speeder. The general and Whitson get out and make their way to the top of the ridge, where they join Starkiller. Far in the distance, crossing the endless dune sea, is the Imperial Invasion Army. It is immense. A convoy of giant tanks, troops on giant dune birds, carriers, and supply ships stretch out from the horizon to the horizon. There's also cavalry, and they are riding the line from one end of the convoy to the other. Hundreds of troops ride one-man jet sticks in, like, power pogo sticks. I don't know.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah. They're riding their jet sticks in precision formation. Their lances form a giant pincushion. It is an amazing sight.
They're heading toward the fortress.
What will they do when they find it destroyed?
They won't stop looking for us. They're coming from the spaceport at Anchorhead, which means they control everything between here and the spaceport at Gordon.
Can we go around them?
No, we'll have to wait for them to pass. Starkiller, see if you can monitor any of their communications on the comlink in the big speeder.
Starkiller returns to the speeder. He collapses in the large speeder next to the princess and flips on the comlink radio, moving back and forth across the dial.
Must you do that?
Starkiller smiles rather sarcastically.
Orders. The invasion force has cut us off. We'll probably be here for some time. You ought to stretch a bit.
Is that a command, General? Maybe I feel like watching after my brothers.
Starkiller looks back at the two sleeping boys.
They're not going anywhere. They're asleep.
I want to stay with them.
What's the matter? Are you afraid I might eat them?
Library, Palace of Light, Aquile. The king's old library has been converted into an office for General Vader. He is sitting behind his desk as Prince Valorum, the Black Knight of the Sith, enters and salutes. The Black Knight is dressed in the fascist black and chrome uniform of the legendary Sith 100. The general returns his salute.
Welcome, Prince Valorum. Your exploits are legendary. I have long awaited to meet a knight of the Sith. If there is any way I can assist you, my entire command is at your bidding.
I want to tie into the computer network, a control center, and communication access.
Right away! I'll also transfer all information we have on the general. His command post was self-destroyed, but we believe he is still alive. Do you really believe he's a Jedi?
Oh, if he was not a Jedi, I wouldn't be here. Wasteland, Aquile. The speeders make their way across the gray desert. It is dawn. The twin suns have yet to rise over the distant hills. The speeders are coated with dust and grime, indicating that they have traveled far. The two captains drive through the night. As everyone sleeps, Starkiller calls Whitsun on the intercom.
How are your fuel packs? I'm reading -4. I'm too low to transfer any.
The general, who appears to be asleep, opens his eyes and takes the microphone from Whitsun.
There's a fuel station 14 degrees by 2 meters. The occupation force should have control of it by now, so hide your weapons, but keep them within reach.
Fuel station, Aquilai. A series of low concrete structures rise out of the desert. The speeders stop in front of an old weather-beaten blockhouse. The rusted bulk of the land speeder lies half buried to one side of the building. Starkiller and Whitsun jump out of the speeder and go into the blockhouse. Interior. Fuel station, Aquilai. The two young captains, dressed as farmers, enter the dingy little fuel station. It is quiet. A few power packs line the walls, and a dismantled speeder rests in the repair bay. There is a sharp dripping sound around coming from the speeder. It appears that no one is there.
Greetings. Who's in charge here?
They look around the deserted station, but find no attendant. An eerie quiet pervades the building.
I don't get it. You don't have to. It's abandoned.
Whitsun opens a door leading to a storage area and stops short.
Not quite abandoned.
Starkiller moves to the doorway and sees the attendant, his wife, and small daughter hanging upside down, tortured to death. Whitsun cuts them down.
They shouldn't have resisted.
Starkiller grabs 2 power packs from the shelf.
Help me with these power packs. We'd better move out of here.
Whitsun covers the family with an old work tarp. He bows to the dead, then reluctantly grabs a couple of the power packs and then starts for the door. Whitsun stops for a moment.
Hear that? Someone's here. We're friends. Show yourself.
Silence. Whitsun shrugs his shoulders, and they start out the door, only to run straight into a burly stormtrooper.
Get out of here!
Fuel station, Aquilai. Whitsun and Starkiller are pulled out of the doorway and shoved into the center of the group of 15 or 20 Imperial stormtroopers who have surrounded the 2 speeders. Several troopers have pulled General Skywalker out of the speeder. He acts senile, like a man twice his age.
I'm all right. I can still move about myself.
A rough-looking sergeant grabs Whitsun. What are you doing here?
We're out of power, sir.
Well, let me see them travel passes.
I have it here somewhere. We've been relocated to a Bantha Horta station by Imperial order.
Whitsun fumbles to retrieve something out of his pocket and eventually pulls out a small, round disc. The sergeant puts the disc in a small, portable reader. Various computer readouts are displayed on the monitor. Starkiller starts to put a power pack into one of the speeders. What are you doing there? All power has been restricted.
We've run out. We must have power or be forced to stay here and become your responsibilities.
The sergeant thinks about this for a moment as the old wise general watches him. Tension fills the air. Starkiller shuffles around to a position where he can reach his weapon. A trooper hands the sergeant a message. Take only 2 of those power packs and then move them quickly. The sergeant hurries to a military craft where he takes a call on an intercom. General Skywalker and his 2 young captains load the remaining power packs into the speeder and roar away from the station. Wasteland, Aquilay. The speeders race along through the rocky desert wasteland. The general speaks into the intercom to Starkiller.
Keep a close watch. If that sergeant runs an analysis on those passes, we might be seeing him again. We should be safely inside Gordon within the day.
Everyone is in good spirits. The princess and her young brothers sing an Aquilian melody, which is transmitted to Starkiller. In the smaller speeder, the general takes little Windy and lets him sit on his lap in the forward compartment of the speeder. R2 flexes 3PO's arm back and forth, attempting to discover the cause of a loud squeak.
Z2 doesn't seem to help at all.
Oh, it's all the filth and dust. This environment is murderous. Starkiller notices a small speck on the horizon.
Object approaching, bearing 3.2.
The general looks through an electro telescope mounted in the speeder. He spots a distant row of troopers riding strange dune birds.
It's a patrol. It could mean trouble. We'd better split up. You stay on a direct course. We'll meet you at the western edge of Ravine 2364. Stay in contact.
The larger speeder makes a sharp left turn, speeding off across a deep ravine. Starkiller can begin to distinguish the approaching troops.
It looks like there's 10 of them, and they're heading right for me. Wait a second, they've disappeared. I've lost them.
Continue on.
Wasteland lakebed, Aquilay. Whitson deftly maneuvers the bulky speeder through a narrow, boulder-strewn ravine. They eventually come out to a dry lakebed where they stop. Standing not more than 100 feet away, apparently waiting for the speeder, are 5 Imperial troops on their dune birds.
We found them. 5 of them, anyway. Watch yourself.
The troops slowly ride their huge birds over to the speeder and dismount. The officer in charge is a vicious-looking warrior with a large scar, with a large sore across his face.
Let me see your passes.
Whitson hands him the small pass disc and he places it in the reader. He studies the computer readout for a few moments and then returns the disc to Whitson.
Have you seen any other transports in this area?
We saw 2 heading south, going toward Ansel. Ansel looked like to me.
All right. Be on your way.
The officer mounts his dune bird and the patrol moves away. Whitson winks at the princess and smiles at the general as the speeder starts off across the dry lake. The general fiddles with the intercom.
S2, are you clear?
Right?
S2, are you clear?
I have 5 troopers approaching. Any problems on your end?
We came through all right. You shouldn't have any trouble, but stay alert.
Best wishes. Here they come.
Do you think he'll be all right?
He can take care of himself.
Biggs is looking out the back window of the speeder.
Hey, look, they're coming back.
Everyone looks to see the patrol quickly gaining on them.
Stop! They're faster. Get your weapon.
The speeder screeches to a halt in a cloud of dust. The general and his captain jump from the transport with laser pistols drawn. The patrol bears down on them, swords drawn at full charge. Both the general and Whitson fire. 2 of the troopers and their dune birds explode in a cloud of smoke. The remaining 3 troopers are upon the duo in a matter of seconds. The general ignites his laser sword and cuts down 2 of the troops as they pass. The last turns his bird around before reaching the speeder and hightails it back toward the ravine. The general jumps onto one of the riderless dune birds and takes off in pursuit. Whitson checks the dead troopers. Wasteland, ravine, Aquilay. The general rides at breakneck speed after the fleeing trooper. His laser sword is raised high over his head, ready to deal a death blow. The lumbering birds race through the winding ravine.
Amazing.
Wasteland, ravine, Aquilay. Same scene. Don't have to do that. The intercom. Warning buzzer begins to scream. Whitson rushes for it, but the princess gets there first.
Are you all right?
2 riders are heading your way. I got 3, but 2 got away. Watch yourselves.
Wasteland ravine, Aquilay. The general is riding neck and neck with the trooper. He swiftly brings his sword down, and the trooper drops from his saddle. The momentum of his charge carries the general around a bend in the ravine and right in the path of 2 more troops charging down on him. The 2 troops are taken by surprise. Even though they're charging down on him, they stop their birds, and so does the general. They stand there, about 50 yards away, sizing up each other. Suddenly, the 2 troopers start for the Jedi at full speed. The general raises his sword and starts for them. The troopers are no match for the general. He kills them both before they are even able to swing their swords. Wasteland lakebed, Aquilay. Starkiller stops near the larger land speeder and gets out. He is wounded. Blood streams from his left arm. Whitson rushes to help him, but the princess shows a great deal of concern.
It looks worse than it is. You'll be all right.
Whitson motions to the princess. He looks a little relieved.
Bring me the med-aid pack.
Well, if he was clumsy enough to get hurt, maybe we ought to let him bleed to death.
She hands Whitson the kit as the general rides up and dismounts. He moves to Starkiller.
You missed 2.
I know, I couldn't.
Don't let it happen again. We better move out. They might have reported in.
Control room, Palace of Light, Aquilay. The dark and sinister Valorum moves several markers on a large map readout to form a line from the destroyed underground fortress to the spaceport at Gordon. An aide enters with General Vader.
The patrol was lost, sir. All 10 of them.
It's to be expected.
Have you found them?
Oh, they're heading out for the spaceport at Gordon. I'm going there. Have all security doubled. Make it an alert. Change dialects there. The outskirts of Gordon, Aquilite. The speeders stop on a bluff overlooking a small cantina on the outskirts. Yeah.
Cantina.
A small cantina on the outskirts of Gordon. The spaceport can be seen in the distance. The General and Captain Whitson walk over to the smaller speeder. Starkiller helps the 2 androids out of their cramped quarters. Your kindness is greatly appreciated.
I'm fit enough to.
The General gives him a hard look and he shuts up. Whitson and the General climb into the speeder.
We'll make contact at 0400. If we're not back by 5540, get worried.
The speeder starts off
Great orders.
toward the cantina.
Get worried.
Get worried.
Get worried.
Well, looks like we're, halfway through?
We're halfway through. Yeah.
Dear Lord above.
It was as long as Dune.
Yeah,
I think.
Because it was a lot of fun doing this with everybody, but this writing was a chore.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
It's
awful.
dreadful. This is all
Ugh.
like it is. It's very much like reading the book Dune. I feel like the movie versions of Dune is not quite as but the book, reading it, it's just phrases that mean nothing. There's
Yep.
words that are not translated until 2 books later.
Yeah, I did a road trip to and from Minnesota listening to the Butlerian Jihad
Yeah.
on Dune.
Oh.
Yeah.
21 discs.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
The entire thing on CD, and it took the entire trip.
I remember the first time I read the first few books of Dune, and I was reading the first one, and there were these words that I was like, well, what is that? No one's describing it.
Nope.
Literally in the 3rd book,
Yeah.
you get a description. I assume that's what was happening here, is that we're given things that would have been explained later.
Uh-huh.
I feel like this draft
yeah.
might have been before his ex-wife started editing it for him.
Yeah.
You know?
Because, damn, if that's it, then,
Damn.
all credit to her for, parsing this down.
Get it,
Yeah.
girl. This is terrible.
Thank God.
Because what was it originally from the Journal of the Whills? Like the very original story of Star Wars?
Was it?
No idea.
Yeah, it was something weird. Like it was the story of Luke Starkiller at that point.
Yeah. This is
So it's all coming around, yeah.
Yeah, indeed.
I do enjoy the 3PO lines though.
Oh, good.
Verbatim. I love that, and I love that this version of him is he's like, "Hey, oh, what's
3PO.
up, my man? Hey, man, I'm an
Human
etiquette.
cyborg relation.
You
Whoa.
and me cyborg relations.
What about it?
I'm an etiquette
Oh,
droid.
hey.
Hey, your kindness is greatly appreciated.
There you
Okay.
go. 'Cause no one likes 3PO, right?
Yeah.
No
so
one ever
nice.
liked 3PO. No.
We like Anthony
horrible.
Daniels, though. I mean, he's fine. He seems like a nice man.
Yeah. Sexy, sexy man.
Oh, yeah.
What I was aiming for, but you
Yeah,
do
there you go.
boo boo.
But somewhere deep down in here, you can see the seeds of the actual New Hope.
So
Yeah.
many seeds.
Yeah.
A lot of
So deep.
seeds. They're very deep.
Planted. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, not many of them
really wanted
sprouted.
the Spaceballs scene of them going through the desert.
I was picturing that, and I was like, "Have you found anything? We haven't found anything. Have you found anything? No, nothing. Sir. We ain't found shit." It's my favorite.
Oh my God.
Also, for some reason, the launching of escape pods makes me picture specifically the evacuation in Spaceballs of the bearded lady, and there's a bear, and I don't know why I just can't take it seriously.
Definitely.
This was a roller coaster.
It was.
It was a lot of fun. And next time,
in
in 2
weeks.
weeks, of course, Saturday, the whatever day that 27th.
Yeah.
Same time, 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, MST.
3K.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
You're going to check it out. We're going to do part 2, and you're going to see we're going right into the cantina scene where we meet Han Solo. And Han Solo is... Don't read it. Don't read it, guys, because you're going to be delighted.
Honestly, it has been much more thrilling to not see the page until it's time to read it. It was like, oh, God, what did he write now? Yeah.
What am I?
Oh, good.
What am I saying?
May the force of others be with you.
Punch somebody in the face.
Punched a
and then people are getting
14-year-old
murdered.
girl
and
and
then blew her mom up. And,
bodies dangling upside down.
Her mom took it
Clear.
pretty well.
Oh,
Yeah,
just-
she's fine.
This is
That's good.
it's
They
real
were
messed up, you
expecting one in
guys.
the wreckage, brother. And it was like, I'm the fucking queen. Okay.
Oh, well. Yeah, so we're every 2 weeks. So next Saturday at 7 p.m., the same time, you're actually going to see Down in Front, a new episode where we talk about some fun movie that we watch with you guys. So as always, we alternate weeks on those. So hopefully you can catch that as well. Why am I talking to this? I need to talk to that. Hopefully you can catch that as well at twitch.tv/colorcircuitlive.
Say it again. Say it again for the people in the back.
Hey, twitch.tv/colorcircuitlive. That is T. No, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna
no.
do that.
It is
You-
the American
you guys-
spelling of color, not the British version.
Oh yeah, you're right. But we do spell humor in the British fashion. So there we go. It's a little weird.
Yep.
So
bit of something for everyone.
yeah. Let's thank everyone for joining us. Thank you if you joined us live. This guy apparently spammed us. A lot of
Check it out.
Hey, thanks, buddy.
Well,
Yeah.
at least, you know they care.
we weren't
boner
paying
pills?
attention.
No.
I don't know.
Pass.
Now they're just like low T pills. Hear that one. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, thank you very much. You can catch us at that address. You can catch us every other Saturday, and we love you.
We do.
May the force of others be with you.